This episode of Lawyers Tell All is brought to you by the Intake Academy. Do you know how to cement relationships with more of your ideal clients, get them to commit to you, and send you more referrals than you ever thought possible? Visit www.intakeacademy.com, where you will get the strategies you need to make the most of your marketing and advertising dollars. Plus, develop a team of intake specialists and attorneys who convert more qualified case opportunities and build meaningful relationships with prospective clients. Welcome to the Lawyers Tell All podcast, where Chris Mullins, the preeminent sales and communications consultant in the legal industry, shows you how it looks through lawyers' eyes. Here, innovators in the trenches provide powerful insights that help you connect with new clients, handle the sometimes harsh realities of the legal profession, and embrace the mindsets needed to succeed. Be sure to visit our website at www.lawyerstellall.com. And while you're there, subscribe to us via your favorite network. Now, lean in, tune in, and let's take a deep dive.
Hello, everyone. It's Chris Mullins with Lawyers Tell All, and today I'm interviewing attorney Earley, and I'm going to let him tell you a little bit about himself.
Hi, Chris. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. I think you do a great job, so I'm excited for our conversation. So my name is Chris Earley. I'm a personal injury attorney in Boston. I've been doing this for about 20 years. I'm a geek with the business of law. I like talking about the business of law and getting better at the business of law. And I'm excited to talk with you today. Hopefully we can give some value to your audience.
Yes. And so we just talked about this a couple seconds ago. Let's talk about mental health and self-care. And I think it's important, like in the entire firm, obviously, top down, front of the office, back to the office. So you tell me what you start with that area. Go ahead.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I do believe that the attitude, the culture of the law firm starts with the owner, right? They say the fish rots to the head. So if the law firm owner is unwell, the law firm is going to be unwell. So I work very intentionally on dealing with, I have past traumas, a lot of, childhood trauma. I'm 40 and I meditate a lot, I journal. I just recently released a memoir called Scaling the Wall, where I literally am naked, just like, here are my warts. I share things that, my most vulnerable moments. And I did that to sort of say, screw it. This is who I am. Take it or leave it. So I find the universe, attracts people to you that can relate to your story and repels those who maybe can't relate. So I wrote a book, and it was a big, massive pain, but it was worth it. So that was my way of sharing my story and as a demonstration to others, attorneys and non-attorneys, that mental health wellness is super important. We talk about it a lot, but I don't think we do enough work on this sometimes. So that was an exercise that I did, was put that into the universe. But I'm a work in progress, Chris. Used to be a really, really angry lawyer, an asshole. And so with meditation, with work, with age, just try to mellow out. But I would, encourage the listener, a lot of law firm owners on this call, right? You can't walk into work stressed out, flipping out. Your staff is going to feel that and freak out too. So let's keep it cool. Do whatever you got to do to center yourself. As I said, again, I meditate, I journal. I think, and I create space. If you can create space for yourself, I think it's really healthy for your life, and your law firm will benefit too, I believe.
Now, wait a second. So did you say the memoir, but did you say you also have another book that you wrote?
No, that's just my only book. No, yeah, I just released it 2 months ago. Yep, on Amazon.
And what's the title?
Scaling the Wall: How I conquered, how I treated, how I handled trauma that was holding me back for years and years and years, making me a very angry lawyer. My law firm was being held back. I started to work on stuff. What happens? A law firm freaking explodes, and that's because I worked on myself and got myself. We're all works in progress, but did some reps in the gym to get a little bit better. I think us lawyers are so stressed out, very unhappy sometimes. You got to get right. And I think that's the only way to do it. Do everything you can to get right.
Yeah. Do you have your book right there?
Yeah, about 20 feet away from me. Yeah.
Can you open
Yeah.
it up and read, like just open anywhere and just read a little bit?
Yeah. So just 1 second. All right. So I know it's being edited. Is this video and audio or just audio?
Video and audio.
Okay. So it's called Scaling the Wall. One man's journey of healing childhood trauma, find fulfillment and success. I find passion. I wrote this for other lawyers, but really for anybody. And to share my story, which I hope helps, because I come from a family of alcoholics, addiction, homelessness, you name it. A lot of heavy stuff. And so I was lucky enough to sort of get out of that and not repeat dysfunctional patterns that I witnessed. So I don't really have the playbook on life. Like I'm still, like I said, working through this stuff, like all of us. But I just put that out, and clients are reading it, and clients, it's resonating with people, with lawyers. It creates opportunities to get in front of audiences. So you don't have to write a book, but again, do whatever you need to do to center yourself. Because like this stuff, like intake marketing, management, like none of this matters if you're not well, right?
Yeah. Mhm. What was the trigger for you? What happened that made you say, oh, that you turned the corner to like trying to work on yourself more?
My wife.
Your
My
wife.
wife. Yeah, we met, and she also had an alcoholic father. So we sort of spoke that language of trauma and unhealthy thought patterns sometimes. And then she was putting a mirror in front of my face and saying, hey dude, you got some stuff you got to work on. Because when you're in a bubble, you don't really know that until someone puts the mirror in front of your face. So when I met my wife and I saw that she spoke my language, it was a long, ugly road of of failure, in terms of trying to get out of my own way. Because then we had kids, and I couldn't repeat that dysfunction, Chris. I couldn't do the stuff that I saw um, in my own family. So just trying to change the narrative, give my kids better opportunities. Because to me, like being a lawyer is, yeah, that's cool and all, but it's like being a person, a husband, a dad, that's what lights me up.
Yeah. So, and how long ago was that?
I met my wife 15 years ago, but I almost destroyed our marriage because I was just very angry. And I have no problem talking about this stuff because, like I said, I wrote a book about it, so it's like I'm just totally exposed and out there. It's like no one can really punch you too hard when you're just very vulnerable. I find it's like once you lay your cards out, it's like
Yeah,
you
it
can't
doesn't
really jump on the dude.
can't hurt me. Yeah,
No,
can't
no.
hurt me. So, um, like in your firm, what are some of the things that happened when things were really not the way they needed to be? Like, what are some of the things that happened between you and your team and your team and you?
Yeah, I mean, for years and years, Chris, I was just a sole proprietor with one assistant, doing good. But I was, kind of an asshole lawyer. I would try to I would try to provoke you and get you mad because I was angry. I was hurting, so I wanted you to hurt. And just handling stuff, really treating my clients really, really well, like gold, like they should be treated. But just oftentimes just being angry with insurance adjusters, with fellow attorneys, and then when the pandemic hit, I started to evolve and grow and find things. I had a really bad day one day with work. I was really stressed out because when you come from my environment, my upbringing, you catastrophize everything. Everything's such a big deal. It's the end of the world if you drop a deadline, you're messing up. It's like I'm gonna get disbarred. It's very irrational. And I noticed I was getting very unhealthy one day. I said I need to meditate, and I started to meditate. In my practice now, we have 15 people over the course of a few years, like just a lot of kind of quick growth. But it started with me. I hate to beat a dead horse, but the owner
Yeah,
has to
yeah,
work on this stuff, or else the law firm is dysfunction junction.
yeah. So, did your team members or did any of your team members come to you and say, "Hey, look, this isn't working. I don't, your behavior, anything like that ever happen?"
No, because I was really small. I just had one assistant, and I kind of, I held together at work pretty well, but just at home, just
Yeah.
upset, prone to anger and arguments. I detailed that in the book. I would try to provoke fights with strangers, but I was never like I never like did something so stupid I get locked up in jail or something really dumb. Just like petty stuff, but over time it kind of adds up. And that's again why I wanted to write the book, to share. Here's my story. I hope it gives you a little bit of value if you can
Yeah.
relate to
Yeah.
this, if you're dealing with stuff, because we're all dealing with something.
Yeah. What is that quote? Everyone is fighting a battle you know nothing about. Be kind always. Something like that.
Always. That's
Yeah.
it's great. It's so true.
Yeah. And so what are some of the signs that you would recommend watching for what for yourself and then maybe in your team that there's a problem, there's a self-care issue?
I think you got to be really intentional about this stuff. When the pandemic hit 5 years ago, I started to get intentional about time management. We're such a stressed out lot of people here. You got to get time management straight. You got to set, create space and boundaries. Give my cell phone number to my clients. Like I've been there, done that. You need to like erect walls around you to protect your time, your space, your mental health. Because I see the law firm as a means to an end. Like a lot of people, a lot of lawyers, Chris, it's like, oh no, I serve my law firm. No, the law firm serves me. So I try to engineer in this laboratory of, okay, we're going to twist the dials here in, in this laboratory to make it so that my family and I have a good life, and I think that's really important to look at a law firm like that. It means to an end, as opposed to you being a slave to your law firm, you
Hmm.
know.
Yeah. And so if you're so a law firm or attorneys that are watching this, what are some of the warning signs that they should pay attention to within with themselves that you would suggest that they pay attention to for
You know when you need a little bit of help. I feel like you kind of know, I'm not right, I'm not well. I mean, we're all works in progress. Like no one's figured this stuff out. But if you need, you got to get, a lot of lawyers, there's heavy addiction, anxiety, sometimes suicide, like insane stuff, disproportionate, right? So you kind of know, if you have that voice saying, hey, I need to talk to someone, go talk to someone. Like because this profession will kill you. Like it's so, if you're like me, like you come to the table in this profession with a very dysfunctional approach and way of thinking, this profession's like the worst thing. It can almost be, it's almost the best thing too, because you're prone to fight, and you want to litigate and duke it out. But that's part of it. Most of it's like, if you're not well, you're not going to be effective. You're going to be a crappy leader for your team. So just, I'm very humbled because I've made so many mistakes, Chris. And so just a lot of like humility. And once you get humble and you realize how messed up you are, it's like things get a little more easier to deal with, I find.
yeah. How many attorneys do you have?
We have, including myself, 3 lawyers, 12 non-attorneys. Just a lot of quick growth in the pandemic. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's been really good. It's been exciting.
Yeah. Um, how do you practice self-care at work, like with your team and educating them and everything?
Well, I like little things. Like I don't take unscheduled phone calls. Like again, I erect walls because you and I like this conversation. I don't want to be running to court doing a deposition. Like I like these kinds of conversations. So my team knows, like, don't reach out to Chris. He's not available. So we train the clients, Chris is in court, Chris is unavailable, he's busy. Um, and so I think again, you just have to be super intentional. And this isn't just me, it's my whole team. Like you have the team member, your receptionist, your intake, your lawyer. You gotta like I'm not above anyone. We're all on the same plane here. So I encourage my team. Erect walls, protect your time. We never take abuse from clients. We show them most respect, but if they cross the line, be it at an intake call or a client that's already engaged with us, like we're not going to take that, right? We show you love, care, and concern. But if there's abuse, the law firm leader needs to step in and handle that, right? And defend your team. Um, but I think this goes, to culture, right? I know you're, a big proponent of not just intake, but healthy law firm culture, which influences intake, helps intake.
Mhm.
I think the leader has to set the tone with positive culture. I got your back. You're protected here. Okay. Like if someone goes off the deep end, like we protect you here. We're not all about dollars and cents. We're about love, care, and concern, respect. We serve people, but we also demand and command respect from people. And I feel like once the team feels supported there, Chris, they can thrive. They know you have
Yeah.
your back. You're not going to go into the office and lose your shit and be a mess, because a lot of attorneys are messes, right? And so once it's a safe place, people tend to stick around. I find it helps with retention.
So do you think it's well, I think it used to be, I haven't looked in a while, but I think it used to be dentists were number one for suicide. But I think that changed to attorneys. I don't know if it
Horrible.
is today, but it's horrible. But like, why do you think that is with this profession?
Incredible demands. A lot. You got to deal with a lot. You have very high ethical duties. You have a lot of you have judges, attorneys breathing down your neck at times. It's one of the most competitive industries in the country. It's it's like an easy place to become unwell, I feel like, especially a guy like me who comes into it, has a lot of issues to begin with. And my biggest issue, Chris, I didn't even know I had issues. So then I get a license to practice law. It's like, oh, I can be an asshole now. It's like, wait,
Yeah,
this isn't smart. This isn't helpful for me, my clients, and my family. Um, but yeah, I think the mental wellness is everything. Once you get that right, your career gets so much better. It's like you get clarity. The blinders are taken off. That's what I've
right.
experienced.
I think it's a good idea, like I mean, so what you're doing is great. And then also for us to do it with our team, so to have
100%.
classes for them, lunch and learns for them on mental health and how to like take care of yourself, not wait for the warning signs, right? Just do it as a regular practice. This is what we do at our firm, mental health days, l- teaching the team, no matter who they are, attorneys, it doesn't really matter who they are, but teaching them that you actually get a gold star when you ask for a mental health day.
It's great. Yeah.
And like
It's
it's
wonderful.
okay. It's okay. We want you to do that. And if your insurance, um I think some insurance plans you can have a therapist. So like reminding the team what's on your insurance plan and we do have it, you can have a therapist and just talking about the elephant in the room all the time before the signs pop up,
Oh yeah.
because no matter what, it's still good, still helpful for everybody. And um, practicing self care in the office. So, like when
Yep.
you were talking about the boundaries and everything, so just making a list, these are all the self care things that you do. And then we can start teaching the team. This is what I call self care for me at the office. And then work with them to help them identify what they think their self care is in the office. And then you all
Love that.
just like a little mini mastermind in your office. You're all just like learning from each other. You don't need to go to a conference. You're just all learning from each other. And now you're really vulnerable and you're breaking bread together every single day.
That's where it's at, Chris. Because then
Yeah.
you're going to move mountains as a law firm. There's trust, again,
Yeah.
protection. So I read a lot of your stuff, and one of the main things you taught me was, intake professionals are first responders, right? Like they deal with trauma all the time, and that got me thinking. I need to talk to intake attorneys, marketing people, everybody in the law firm. Go for a walk. If you
Yeah.
work remotely, go walk on the block or whatever it is to step away. The owner, Chris, I know you know, but I just want to emphasize for the audience, has to understand this is hard stuff. Like this is a hard profession. It's not just the lawyers, it's the non-lawyers. It may be hard for the non-lawyers. Because sometimes clients will, crap on them and give them a bunch of shit. And so you need, like, I love what you just said. Like, let's create a healthy environment. We're going to talk about space. Doesn't, meditation, journaling, reading, like something that get you away. I met a lawyer like 2 months ago, Chris, and he said he meditates like 5 minutes. So just during the workday, and I never did that. Close the door. Why can't an intake person do that? Why can't the paralegal do that? Close the door, turn the computer off for a second, and like sit and just chill. And it's so powerful. But again, Chris, I know you know this better than anyone. A lot of lawyers are hard charging. How are we doing on signups? Come on, let's, kind of cracking the whip. But like, that's not, there's a better way to do it, I find,
Right. Yeah. No, I think, yeah, 100%. And the mental health days and mental health week. And I think really just like bringing it out with everybody in the office. They all talk about it. Again, like that elephant in the room that some people like woo woo stuff and they don't want to talk about it. But
Yeah.
the other thing too is that um, the trauma that attorneys, paralegals, and intake, anybody that talks to clients or prospects, because they're listening to these stories every day, all day long, they can get PTSD.
Absolutely.
I
It's
mean,
hard.
just by working in the farm. So it's kind of like our responsibility to take charge on that, right? Talk about it.
Absolutely. You must acknowledge that and and not be tone deaf, right? And be a little sensitive to this stuff. And and show your team that I know you have a hard job. You know, you're a paralegal, you're an intake specialist, you're an attorney. We have your back here. I cannot stress enough the importance of protecting them and validating the weighty work they do of dealing with, like, no one's calling a law firm because they're happy. Right? It's like nothing good happens. Something bad, I'm getting divorced, I'm going to jail, I had a catastrophic accident, like something bad happened. And these people are, as you know so well, intake specialists absorbing this. You have to acknowledge your intake specialist. You have hard work. I know. Whatever you need from me, let me know. They'll feel so supported. I highly doubt they're going to go anywhere else because they won't find that level of love and support from any other employer. So do this at your own peril. You can neglect your staff. They're going to leave you eventually or resent you
Right.
until they do leave. And so let's just show love to that to our team because it's so hard to hire. It's so
Yeah, it's
fantastically hard.
yeah, and we're not all gonna have AI is not gonna be sitting in our chairs, all of us. So
Not yet.
I totally support AI, by the way, but I'm just saying that, and we listen to like client calls as well as prospect, and again, the trauma I can hear it, with the attorneys and the paralegals on the phone, and they need an outlet for that. They've got to know that we acknowledge that that's traumatic, and everybody's going to handle it differently, but we're going to help you get it out while you're here at the office.
100%.
Yeah, we
100%.
got to do that and figure out how to do that. And I mean, I do a lot of empathy training classes just in general.
So important. So important.
Yeah, and the stories that come out in those classes, even by the attorneys and not just intake, um, they just not really sure. They don't know how to handle it. They don't really know how to deal with those feelings while they're in the middle of a conversation with a client. Like how to handle it so that they don't get angry, so that the switch doesn't go off and they respond in a way that they shouldn't. And so a lot of people want to do something about it, but I don't think that they're going to take the initiative. I think it's mostly us that has to go tap on the shoulder and bring it out. So I mentioned this to you the other day, or not the other day, but just a little while ago, that I do one-on-ones with students. So like I call clients, the team members, students, and I had an intake specialist. During the one-on-one, and she was crying, and she said she's going to talk to her boss about having a few mental health days.
Mm-hmm.
But she felt like she's going to be there 2 years, and she started to feel like she's burning out. She's not performing in the way that she wants to perform, and she's feeling really terrible about feeling like she's the one that leads the team because she has the most conversions. The team looks up to her, she thinks, and her numbers aren't there right now. So now she feels responsible. And she's breaking down on the phone because that story affects her in a very difficult way. And so that was her mental health. And then another intake specialist. So we're using a lot of virtual assistants, right, in different countries, and no matter what the role is. And the folks that are from different countries, and there are VAs for whatever the role is, they have their own difficulties with mental health because our clients and our prospects are not treating them very well.
Mm. All day long, probably. Yeah. Such
Yeah,
situations.
so Yeah. So when there's clients and prospects that they hear the accent from a different country, and they'll just make comments or yeah, I can't talk to you. You're from a different country. So I don't know
Yeah.
if they all really know that or all really pay attention to it. It's happening with our own team.
Yeah.
And so some people, they're just having breakdowns from it. They don't, they say that initially we understand it, but once we've been working there for a while, they don't understand it anymore. And so they're having a really hard time with it.
That makes me sad. And it's almost, it's not surprising because there's some, small-minded people out there, and they hear someone from a foreign country and if they have an issue with it. So that's their stuff. I would encourage Chris, the listener, who's many law firm owners, survey your staff. Say, how am I doing? How
Yeah.
is Chris doing? Do you feel supported? Because like that intake specialist, where you just described having a tough time, you got to take their temperature. They may not feel comfortable to knock on the attorney's door and say, I'm having a tough day today. I'm having a tough month, actually, if you really want to know. So survey, inquire, if you have remote staff or in the office, just go sit in their office or send a message on Slack. Hey, Chris, really appreciate you. You're very important to me and what we're doing. I appreciate you. So, again, love, care, and concern. They're feeling supported. You just talked about trust, right? So they feel the trust that they can come to the owner, the boss, and say, I'm having a really tough time. Like, this is hard stuff, but it's not that hard. Just show up for them. Because I think Chris, the law firm owner, works for the works for the team as opposed to the other way around. When you frame it like that, you're a servant leader, right? As they say, which I love that. It really hit me. You're a servant leader. Be humble, be strong, be courageous, but be accessible because you're no better than anybody else, right? And leadership is so hard. But again,
Yes,
what you
it
just described is really sad because that team member, I hope, can go to the head of the organization and say, I'm struggling. And if that person can't, then there's some things to fix. Trust stuff.
Yeah. I think this has been great. Do you have any last words for everybody?
No, I mean, I think I really enjoyed our conversation because, the intake stuff, marketing, culture, like none of that matters unless we're healthy, right? And clear focus. So I encourage you if you're having trouble, talk to someone. My book is about therapy and how I talked with many therapists throughout the years. So get some help. Reach out to me. I'm no expert. Never I wish I was an expert, never will be an expert, but I'm an expert in what works for me. So if you want, reach out to me anytime. I'd be happy to talk with you. I actually have an email that goes out every week to almost 1,000 lawyers. Yeah, almost 1,000 lawyers across the country. It's called Practice Tip of the Week. If you go to practicetipoftheweek.com, we have an email that goes out. I'll share something I'm doing in my business. And and that's for the business side. But again, the business stuff doesn't matter at all unless we're working on ourselves because we want to be present with our families and not be tied to the office. We can watch our kids grow up. So, but Chris, I appreciate you put a lot of good content. I encourage everyone, listen to Chris's recordings, consume her content. You're definitely a wizard at this stuff, and I've learned a lot from you. So I appreciate you a lot.
Yeah. I appreciate your time too. This has been great.
Oh, thank you so much. I've had a really good time.
I told you we were going to hang out.
And it was awesome. You delivered.
Yeah. All right. So long, everybody. See you soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you for tuning in to Lawyers Tell All, where Chris Mullins takes you on a journey with lawyers in the trenches who show you the realities of what it takes to succeed in this chaotic, crowded, ever-changing profession. Remember to visit our website at www.lawyerstellall.com and enjoy even more great episodes like this one. Again, while you're here, subscribe to us via your favorite network. We look forward to seeing you next time on Lawyers Tell All.